Welcome again to the Old Principle. 我就是老校长, and we've come to another interesting lesson. Well, today it's puppies for sale. 小狗，他们就卖这个小狗。So we're going to talk about a little boy that wants to buy a puppy. Well, this will be lesson number 14. Number 14. And with that, we are ready to go. Cute, right? Yeah. Let's listen to the story.
Number 14. Puppies for sale. A man had some puppies he needed to sell. He made a sign that read, "Pedigreed puppies for sale." He took the sign out into his front yard and started to nail it to a tree by the road. As he was driving the nail into the tree, he felt a tug on his clothes. He looked down and saw a little boy. "Mister," he said, "I want to buy one of your puppies." The man answered, "Well, these puppies are very special. They cost a lot of money." The boy reached deep into his pocket and pulled out some coins. "I've got 39 cents. Is that enough to take a look?" "Well, sure," said the man. The two of them walked into the backyard and over to the dog pen. The two of them stood at the fence. The man whistled and called the dog. Out from the doghouse came the mother, followed by 4 little balls of fur. The little boy looked through the fence. He was excited. But then the little boy noticed something else moving inside the doghouse. Slowly, another little ball appeared. This one was smaller. Down the ramp it slid and walked awkwardly. "I want that one," the little boy said, pointing to the runt. The man knelt down by the boy and said, "Son, you don't want that puppy. He will never be able to run and play with you like these other dogs would." The little boy stepped back from the fence, reached down, and began rolling up one leg of his pants. There was a steel brace running down both sides of his leg and attached to a specially made shoe. Looking back at the man, he said, "You see, sir, I don't run too well myself, and the puppy will need someone who understands." The world is full of people that need our understanding.
Welcome back. A man had some puppies that he needed to sell. So he made a sign that read, "Pedigreed puppies for sale." Okay, a puppy is a 小狗, and maybe his dog just had puppies, and so he needed to sell them. Actually, some people they breed their dogs and they just sell the puppies, and it's a pretty good business. Okay, so he made a sign that said "Pedigreed." Now, interesting. Pedigreed. What does that mean? Pedigreed means 纯种. 纯种. That means that they are special. A pedigreed dog has a history. You know what the mother dog was and the father dog was, and they are all we say they have a true bloodline, or something like that, like a 血统, okay? Well, in this case, these are pedigreed dogs, and they are for sale. Now, going on. He took the sign out to his front yard in America. We have sign a front yard and a backyard. 前院子呢，后院子, okay? So he took it out the front yard, and apparently it was a big yard, and they had a big tree. So he took the sign and the 牌子, they took the 牌子 out there and to the front yard and started to nail it to a tree. Okay? 用钉子钉在这个树上. Now, here's the beginning of the interesting story. He was, as he was driving the nail in. To drive a nail in simply means 打钉子,打进去, okay? So he's driving the nail into the tree. He felt a tug on his clothes. Tug. Tug is 有东西啊，拉他的衣服，拉他的衣服。He looked down and he saw a little boy. So the little boy wants to speak to him. Going on. Mr. 先生, he said, I want to buy one of your puppies. I want to buy, 我要买你们其中一个小狗. Now, going on. The man answered, These puppies are very special and they cost a lot of money. Very special. Of course, they're pedigreed. So that's understandable. And they cost a lot of money. 值很多钱. So don't mean to disappoint you, lad, but these things, these little puppies are very expensive. Going on. The boy reached deep down into his pocket and he pulled out some coins. So 从口袋拿出来一些硬币. Some coins. And he said, I've got 39 cents. I've got 39 cents. 我有3毛9分呢. But now look at the next sentence. Is that enough to buy? No. He says, is that enough money to take a look? See what it says? Is that enough to take a look? 我只要看3毛9分呢, 39 cents. Can I take a look for 39 cents? Going on. Sure, said the man. The sure, 这是肯定,对了. That's enough. So the two of them walked to the backyard, over to the dog pen. What is a dog pen? Well, a dog pen has a fence around it. Okay? So a dog pen is, it has 墙壁 or whatever it is. And so he went there and 围栏, okay? 围栏, a fence in the backyard. Now, let's see, backyard. Okay, going on. The two of them stood at the fence. Okay, so they're at the 狗栏, Okay, the Weilan, they're standing there at the Weilan, the fence, and the two of them are standing there, and the man whistled and called the dog. Very obedient dog. This is very common in America, and I imagine all around the world, that the owners of dogs have them trained to come at a certain call or a certain whistle, 吹口哨. Anyway, they're standing there at the fence, 这个围栏, and the man whistled and called the dog. Going on. Out from the doghouse. Okay, what is a 狗屋? Out from the doghouse came a mother, of course, followed by 4 little balls of fur. Okay, 跟着来 4 little balls. Ball is 一个球啊. But probably little balls of fur is 毛茸茸的小球. They just look like a little fuzzy ball. Okay, and these came out. And the little boy looked through the fence. 他站在这个旁边 and he was looking, okay, looking through, okay, 目光 or 看越这个围栏. So you're looking through the fence, you know, you got a fence, and he was looking through the fence. He was excited. All little boys like dogs. Is that true? Well, I think so. Especially baby dogs, little ones, cute little dogs, cuddly little dogs. 很想这个拿他们到你的胸怀 cuddle through them. So he was excited, 很激动. Excited, 兴奋 of course, but the 激动, he was excited. There was the little dogs, and he just was so excited going on. But then the little boy noticed something else. Okay, well, I'm sure that the older man knew about this too, but the little boy noticed something else. What did he notice? He noticed something else moving inside. 这个狗屋里面有东西动了. Okay, something is moving inside the doghouse. Slowly, another little ball appeared. 另外一个小小的球，一个毛茸茸的一个小球啊，就出现出来了. This is the 5th one. Going on. This one was, key word, smaller. This 5th one was smaller. Down the ramp. What is a ramp? 斜坡. 斜坡. They don't usually have steps. 没有楼梯, they have a 斜坡. Down the ramp, it slid. It slid. 滑下去. To slide. To slide. So this little one was sliding down the ramp. And It walked awkwardly. What does it mean to walk awkwardly? It simply means that 它不大会走路。In other words, 有一点怪怪的。To awkward, we say, usually when we use the word awkward, we think of 尴尬, right? But if you walk awkwardly, it simply means that you have difficulty in walking. 说不定是缺腿的等等. Okay? So he walked awkwardly. And the little boy said, I want that one. I want that one. And he was pointing, 用他的手指着那后来出来的. Okay? And it says here the runt. What is the runt? Well, usually runt simply means the smallest one in a litter. Now, when an animal has babies, like 小狗, they usually have 4, 5, 6 little 小狗, okay? One time, mother, 4, 5, 6. When we say 5 or 6, we don't say, oh, I have 6 little puppies. We often will say 1 litter. That means litter, that means there are many inside. So the smallest one in the litter, that is the smallest one of all those that were born, the smallest one was a runt. Usually runt just gives the idea of being small. Sometimes, and in this case, that it's 也有一点点缺腿的，不单只是最小，可能是缺腿的。Still very, very beautiful, very cute, 毛茸茸的这个小球. In other words, it was the dog was cute, but obviously there was something wrong with the dog. Going on, the man knelt down beside the boy and said, okay, so at this point, the big man, 蹲下来, he kneels down. Now, sometimes kneeling down is used in like you're praying, 祷告的时候, then you kneel down, 跪下来. It's the same word, 跪下来, but obviously he's not praying, he's talking, so 这个蹲下来 is probably a better translation. He knelt down by the boy, 在他的旁边, and said, son, you don't want that puppy. 儿子, of course it wasn't his own son, but we often say that son, that meaning young boy, you don't want that puppy. 你不要这个一定不要这个小狗. Going on. He will never be able to run and play with you like the other dogs would. This little puppy will never be able to run and play with you like the other dogs. I mean, if you want a puppy, you need a puppy that will run with you and play with you like all the other dogs. No, Sonny, you don't want this dog. going on. The little boy stepped back from the fence. 从这个围栏这个退了一步. Okay? He stepped back from the fence. Okay? Here's his fence, and he stepped back. He reached down, okay, and began rolling up his, rolling up his legs. And 他的裤管, rolling up one leg of his pants. 他的一边的裤管, okay, and he was rolling it up. Pants, 裤子, right? And then if you have, you have two 裤管, okay? So he was rolling this up, 卷起来, going on. There was a steel brace on both sides of his leg attached to a specially made shoe. Okay, what is this? There was a steel brace. 钢铁做的, okay, 钢条. Maybe we can just say 钢条. A brace. It's just a piece of metal, long piece of metal. So it's just right there. And it's a steel brace running down both sides of his leg. 他的腿两边, okay, 两边, both sides of his leg, he has this 支架 just going up and down both sides of his leg. And it was 连在, attached to. To attach something to, 连在某一个东西. In this case, the steel braces that went up and down his legs were attached to what? A specially made shoe. 特制的, 特别做的, 一个鞋子. Going on. Looking back up to the man, you can just see him smiling. This cute little boy smiling and looking up to the man. Here's what he said. You see, sir, I don't run too well myself. 你看，先生啊，连我自己也跑得不怎么好。I don't run very well. And the puppy will need someone who understands. 这个小狗也需要一个人明白了解它。See, I don't run very well. So, and the puppy doesn't run very well. So the puppy needs to have somebody that really understands. 很了解它. Going on. The world is full of people who need understanding. By the way, when I read this story, I didn't know what the end is, but I would guess that for 39 cents, the little boy bought the pedigree 纯种的 puppy. Now, granted, it was the runt, but I tell you that if a little boy came up to me and said that, I would give him anything he wanted. Of course I would. The world is full of people that need our understanding. The world is full of people who need our understanding. 我们的世界就充满了需要我们理解的人啊。 Wow. Everywhere you go, they're on all sides of where we are. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you met somebody with a disability? Oh, 或许是瘸腿的。Do you know them well? Sometimes we're embarrassed to talk to people. Is that true? 不好意思跟他们讲。Sometimes 连看的也不看。We need more understanding. It says here the world is full of people that need our understanding. Our understanding. Now, do you have such a person around you? Is there somebody that goes to your school? Is there somebody who is a little bit strange? Today, maybe we could learn a lesson from the little boy. And the lesson is simply this: they are people too. They need our understanding. And we can talk with them, we can share with them, we can spend time with them. Take a few minutes. Do something special for somebody else. And I guarantee, 这个是老校长的保证, I guarantee that if you go give some understanding and try to spend time with them, you will have a happy day. Now, we do have an email address. If we go quickly here, our email address, Daniel the teacher, so theoldprincipal@gmail.com. And then we have a website. Our website is www.theoldprincipal.org. It's been great to spend this time with you, and I do hope that you'll join us next time with a friend. Until then, bye-bye.